Welcome to Chanel World Story 22, a channel that always provides news about the history of countries in the world. Both culture, tourism, war, and other history. On this occasion, Chanel World Story 22 will discuss the prostitution business in Thailand from World War II to the present. So Thailand is one of the countries famous for its prostitution. Then what is the history of prostitutes in Thailand from the start of World War II until now? For those of you who are curious, please watch this video. But before proceeding to the discussion, please support by liking, commenting, subscribing and sharing, so that this channel continues to grow. The problem of prostitution is endless. In addition to many parties who reject it, there are still a handful of parties who support it. Although considered immoral by most people, the sex industry still exists today throughout the world. No matter how vigorously the government declares it illegal, it is not that easy for prostitution to disappear from a country because there are always those who need it. In Southeast Asia, Thailand is famous for its sex tourism. Bunchatima, 2009, states that the government of the White Elephant country has tried to change its image by promoting other tourism such as cultural tourism. But unfortunately, Thailand's strong image of sex tourism has not changed. Podhister, 1994, states that prostitution in Thailand does have a long history. This practice dates back to the Ayutthaya era, 1350-1776. Europeans who came to Siam I in the 17th century had witnessed the practice of prostitution in Thailand. Pumasak, 1975, Hantrakul, 1983, Skrobanek, 1983, and Thandam, 1990 in Podhister, 1994. One such European was the French envoy to Leloubier. In his notes, Leloubier mentions that there was an official who was referred to as a person who bought women and servants to prostitute them. Thandam, 1990. 148 in Podhister, 1994. In addition, during the Ayutthaya period, there was a corvée 3 system in which all males had to leave the family and serve the feudal nobility for 6 months. Podhister, 1994. It was in those days that pramoria were believed to serve as corvées servants when they were away from their respective wives. Finally, in 1960, commercial sex in Thailand became a sizable industry during the Vietnam War or the Second Indochina War, 1957-1975. During that time US soldiers sometimes came to Thailand to rest, and that's when Thai women used this opportunity to make ends meet by serving US soldiers. Since then, prostitution has been rife in Thailand and even persists until now. Even though it is reported that the government is intensively promoting sex-free tourism and banning brothels from operating in Thailand, the fact is that the practice of prostitution in Thailand is still active. In fact, Gujik 2014 says that prostitution in Thailand plays a role in the country's economy. About 60% of Thailand's national income comes from the tourism sector, and sex tourism plays a major role in Thailand's tourism sector. Every year, Gujik 2014 said that around 10 million tourists come to Thailand, and about 60% of the tourists are men, whereas 70% of the male tourists come for sex tourism. So, every year there are more than 4 million men coming to Thailand for sex tourism. Ironically, when sex tourism in Thailand contributes a lot to the country's national income. Bunchalaksi and Guest 1994, in one of their studies, found that Thai maids enter the world of prostitution precisely because of economic problems. Indeed, universally, economic problems are a problem for all countries, especially those in the third world countries. However, according to Podhista 1994, specifically poverty in Thailand occurs because the government prioritizes the industrial and service sectors, but ignores the agricultural sector. Even though Thailand is an agricultural country and most of the population has a livelihood as farmers, poverty that occurs in rural farmers results in differences in economic conditions in villages and cities to become very unequal. Not to mention that according to Podhista 1994, in today's globalization era, consumerism and a high lifestyle have spread to villages. Thus, in order to meet basic needs coupled with lifestyle demands, any job that generates large amounts of money in a short time is well received by society, including prostitution. It is not only farmers who are poverty-stricken. Dagrosa 1989 reveals that in Thailand there are not enough jobs available for young women from villages who are less educated and less experienced. In fact, in Thailand girls have bigger responsibilities than boys when it comes to the household economy. Because of this, even the poverty-stricken farmers were inevitably forced to involve the daughters into prostitution. Thus, a daughter from an underprivileged family who migrates out of town to become a pramoria in order to support her family is understood and considered normal by the surrounding community. The traditional discourse in which girls in Thailand are responsible for supporting their families is still being implemented today. In Phongpaichit's research 1980, in Podhista 1994, the female attendants in the research sources admitted that they were indeed the backbone of the family. In fact, the fact is that women who are less able to support their families are considered failures, not only by their families but also by the surrounding community. Therefore, it is not surprising that in the end Thai women are forced to use any means to fulfill these demands, even if that means they have to involve themselves in the world of prostitution. Thus, it is not surprising that until this moment the practice of prostitution still exists in Thailand. Indeed, the government has repeatedly tried to eradicate the sex industry in Thailand. However, it cannot be denied that the local community has no objection to this practice in their environment because after all, there are many people who need it, both from women who need money to fulfill their basic needs, as well as from men to fulfill their biological needs. Evidence of acceptance of prostitution in Thailand is evidenced by brothels that are not sequestered. The brothels are located between residential areas. According to Boonchalaksi and Guest 1994, brothels in Thailand are even located close to places of worship and trade centers. Brothels in Thailand are considered normal, as are offices in general. In fact, one of the documentaries about prostitution in Thailand directed by Austrian director Michael Glawaga, Whore's Glory 2011, shows how the practice of prostitution in an exclusive brothel under the guise of a massage parlor in Bangkok is called Fish Tank. The Fish Tank building is located and operates in the middle of a busy city like an office building. Fish tank stewards stand on the top floor of the fish tank building, which is made of glass, and flash lasers at the men who pass them to invite consumers. Not only does it have a luxurious building, Fish Tank also has other employees like an office in general, such as customer service, waitresses, parking attendants, and security guards. Fish Tank is not the only brothel masquerading as a massage parlor in Bangkok. After all, it's not only in Bangkok that this kind of thing happens. Undercover brothels spread to various cities in Thailand. This shows that prostitution has become an aspect of Thai society and has taken root. In fact, its existence does not threaten or disturb the surrounding community. Roots that have been planted decades ago and supported by never-ending poverty, make prostitution very difficult to eradicate in Thailand.